is writing about, quote, Trump's Texas gerrymander backfire. The piece reads in part, quote, President Trump's insistence that Texas Republicans redraw their House map before the 2026 midterms is looking like it could backfire in a big way. A federal court on Tuesday struck down the new map as an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. The dispute is a legal hash, but it suggests the GOP didn't look before leaping in a mid-decade gerrymander free-for-all. Texas Republicans will surely petition the Supreme Court to stay the panel's decision, and its reasoning is convoluted and questionable, especially given that many GOP legislators in Texas admitted their partisan motives. Even so, it shows the risk that Republicans took by starting this mid-decade redistricting race to the bottom. The Democratic reaction to Mr. Trump's Texas power play could erase most, if not all, GOP gains. Mr. Trump's attempt to bludgeon GOP state legislatures to redo their districts could turn out to be a misjudgment that costs Republicans their House majority.
Yeah,
I'm pretty much calling it dumb.
Yeah, I mean, County K, again, there are no shortcuts here. I know that as somebody from Britain, you're a huge baseball fan.
Right.
Huge. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I keep seeing this clip, and it's George Will talking about how democracy is the perfect game. Baseball's the perfect game for democracy because, you know, you're going to fail more than you succeed. If you get up and you succeed 1 out of 3 times, you're an all-star. You go to the ballpark knowing that your team is going to lose, has a 1/3 to 1/2 chance of losing. But it's through the season, it's the grinding, it's the back and forth, it's the compromise, it's the small things that help you win at the end. Please stay with me, Caddy, because I'm seeing you
really
about
trying.
to explode.
It's kind of, it's sort of 6:30 in the morning. I haven't had a coffee yet, but I'm trying. Okay, keep.
Yeah, you are. You're
I'm
just
here with you.
so you're smiling because you're trying to stay awake. Okay,
Right.
and so it's the same thing with Washington. They're checks and balances. I remember telling Donald Trump a very long time ago, you know, the most important person in Washington, D.C. is usually the Senate minority leader. It doesn't sound, it sounds bizarre, but it's the truth. If you're the president, you have to get up to 60 votes. It's something, though, they never consider. They've never, one Republican operative told me a couple days ago that Republicans are now just waking up on the Hill going, oh, wait, we have to get to 60 votes to do anything. You're just figuring that out now? But that's the thing. So it's always like shortcuts, shortcuts, shortcuts. And every one of his shortcuts are turning around and actually backfiring politically. And this Texas one, where he's got Gavin Newsom to get 5 the right way, is a perfect example.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is why I remain an optimist. Every time I'm asked, I've just come back from a couple of weeks in Europe, and I feel like I'm playing therapist again, and I'm asked, you know, is it time for us to jump out the window and give up on America? And I say, no, you have to wait, because the system actually is pretty ingenious. And I think we've seen examples of that. We see examples of that in this Texas ruling, that actually there are procedures, legal procedures, that have to be upheld, and the law will uphold them. You see it in the case of Jim Comey. There are checks and balances, legal checks and balances, legal hurdles that are put in place. And if you don't follow those legal hurdles, it turns out you may not actually have the case that you thought you had, and the case could end up being dismissed. So I think what we're seeing in this administration at the moment, and I don't know if it's because they feel so under pressure because of the low approval ratings, because of the economy not doing badly, because of the Epstein files not doing badly. The rush in which they're doing things, the speed in which they're doing things, is leading to a certain amount of sloppiness. And when you are sloppy, if you are incompetent up against a system that is actually a pretty competent system, even though Congress has kind of been asleep for the last 8 months, you don't win. And I think you're seeing that start to happen time and again, whether it's in the Jim Comey case, whether it's in the redistricting. You have to actually get it right. Otherwise, the system is stronger than you are.
Well, often there's the concept of putting people who are incompetent in jobs so that they are subservient.
Right.
The problem is there still are consequences. Kathy brought up Comey.
And we're seeing that time and again. And Will and I were just talking about this. Will and I just returned from Capri.
Oh, God.
Stayed at
You're
Gore Vidal's
Good
old home.
time.
Clear our heads.
We had to clear our heads. Often we go there and just have, drink port and say, well, what would Gore do right now, right? So, but anyway, it's always, again, these shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. I remember one time walking out when I decided to leave Congress, and I walked out and I looked at 435 people on the floor, and I go, there's sure a lot of people out here I got to deal with before I get anything done.
Yeah.
But that's the way democracy's supposed to work, and that's what Donald Trump should understand. You got to get to 60.
And government never intended to be run through executive order, which is how this president has tried to do it, and he's bumping up against the system that's pushing back. I should point out, too, and the Journal gets at this, even the redrawn district that Republicans in Texas, which are in dispute right now, but in Ohio and North Carolina, those aren't considered gimmies, all of those districts, so that may backfire in those places, too. In other words, Democrats may end up winning some of those redrawn districts. We'll see.
Yeah.
But this is not working out, I think, the way they designed it.
Let's go back to Comey. Just 24 hours after acknowledging a federal judge, the full grand jury had not reviewed the final indictment of former FBI Director James Comey. The Justice Department is now reversing its position in shocking testimony.
Oh, wait, we did?
Wait. Everyone,
you do that.
They're
They're deboned in federal court, and then the next day they're like, oh, wait, yeah, I think, oh, wait, yeah, we did.
Whoa. In shocking testimony, Trump-appointed acting U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan said when jurors voted to indict Comey on 2 of the 3 counts submitted in the original indictment, the full grand jury had not reviewed a final revised document. Instead, only a jury 4-person and an additional grand juror saw the document. But in a court filing yesterday entitled Government's Notice Correcting the Record, federal prosecutors...
It was originally titled, wait, my bad. But go ahead.
Federal prosecutors took back that claim, saying the full grand jury actually did review the final indictment and disputed arguments by Comey's defense team that it is invalid. Halligan, Trump's former personal attorney who has no prior prosecuting experience, also released an unusual statement yesterday criticizing the judge in the case.
Oh, that always helps.
By mischaracterizing comments he made on Wednesday.
Oh, that always helps.
Writing in part, quote, personal attacks like Judge Nachmanoff referring to me as a puppet don't change the facts or the law.
All right, so anyway, she should be so lucky that statements could change the facts or the law, Jonathan, because they all work against her. They all work against the Department of Justice, and they all work for James Comey here.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just an embarrassment.
Hard to watch.
We talked the other day, I think the Times characterized it as an excruciating session there in the courtroom. And they made mistake after mistake after mistake. Yes, we're seeing some pushback here, some attempting to get the case back on track. But we've talked to legal experts all week long who have said, look, these are gifts for the Comey defense here. And to the broader point, just the sloppiness that has suddenly permeated the Trump administration, where for the first 6-ish months, they largely enacted what they wanted to do. People disagreed with some of the legality of it, but they had their agenda, Project 2025 infused, and they got a lot done. That seems to be careening off the rails, and rapidly. The president, as someone put to me, is acting like he's in his final months of his term.
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, as opposed to still year 1. And I think the pressure, there seems to be the pressure is building about, because of this, all of these things going wrong at once, he's seeing the midterm slip away. He knows how hard his life would get.
That's what I don't understand at this point.
Sorry, Joe. I was just going to say, the Supreme Court ruling on tariffs is coming up.
Yeah.
Like, that has been so key to his governing, so key to how he has tried to reshape the U.S. economy, the world economy. And if that comes down from a Supreme Court that is a majority in conservative with 3 appointees from his first term, that'll be such a blow to him. And that is hanging over him, just like all these other things. So just look at what's bothering him. Those are the things.
Yeah, let me ask you,